We play and call it work.
So we're here with Cullen.
Hello.
He's going to share his experiences and reaction to the new Citadel Contrast color paints. And how long have you been in the hobby?
Since I've been working here, so like 5 years.
About 5 years, yeah. So you've done a lot of painting because you play skaven and.
Yep. So I figured we'd grab this rat ogre I got right here.
And so you have a little rat ogre we're gonna play with, and we've already given that a prime of.
That one is the bone.
Wraithbone.
Yeah.
The Wraithbone, and so we're gonna play a little bit with the browns and the flesh tones, right?
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Okay.
When I typically paint these guys for my own stuff, I do a Kislev with a wash for the skin and a Cadian for the tail and then with the wash there. So I'm gonna see if I can try to replicate that same kind of like him having like a more of a human-y, paler skin tone where the tail. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then the tail is more of a pinky kind of rat tail.
Human-y and pinky. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, I hear you.
So the one thing is I'm looking at the three colors that say flesh, and boy do they all look the same from like the bottom.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure you got to give them a good shake, just like with all paints. You got to make sure you got to give them a good shake. And
so, if I wanted to go for that, like the lightest of these flesh shades,
in my experience, so far is the Gilliman flesh is the lighter of the shades. That one feels more closer to Cadian flesh tone in its end result.
Okay.
At least so far in my experiences with it.
We'll give this one a shake, and then I guess just put it on all the flesh parts.
Yeah. So go ahead and apply it however you feel it necessary. Now, I mean, obviously shaking it around, you could feel that it's fairly thin consistency, right? It's not like shaking the paints. So it is going to flow a bit more like the shade washes, but not quite as thin, but they are pretty thin. But
okay,
I'll let you experience it. Of course, this is what the whole point of this video is getting your reaction as we play with these paints.
I can put some on this thing, right?
Pardon me?
I can put some on this board here?
Yeah, you can put some on the palette if you want. Yeah, you can play with the thinners if you want as well.
Oh, we're going to go straight paint here.
Straight paint, yeah, straight paint.
One of the things I find is a lot of people here love their airbrushes, and even though I have an airbrush, I still prefer the hand painting. So, this stuff is very interesting. Because, I don't know, I just find I can never just sit there and airbrush for super long. But I can sit there and paint with a brush for a while. So... Oh, I got some here. So far, yeah, it feels like it's going on similar to a wash.
It feels a bit more like a shade wash?
Yep. And it's just kind of getting to where I need it. It's interesting to see like how careful I need to be. Because there is fur portions of this as well that I would like to paint a different brown. So... let's see how we go. Try to get it in the armpit there.
So as you work with the color and you're moving it around, are you feeling like you're having to resist applying a fair amount, or do you feel like you can pretty much just kind of slap it onto the model? Do you paint in that kind of fashion, or do you paint very deliberately, or?
I have a bit more of, my typical way is honestly I just do 2 thin coats of the base color, and then I'll typically wash it, and then I will paint that same base color back in, and then highlight up it. So typically it's more thin coats, so trying to do the thick coat is definitely like, I see myself being very conservative with it, when I guess I can just kind of care a little less.
Yeah, the way these paints are kind of intended is that you can kind of just slap it right on there.
I'll try to be a little bit more aggressive here.
Sure. But as far as how it's applying onto the model and doing, what it's intended to do, I guess as it were, how are you feeling about so far what you're seeing on the model?
It looks like a base coat and a wash all in one. Is kind of what the look that it's given me, which is again the first 2 steps I typically do whenever I go to paint something. And if I can take those 2 steps and make them one, well, that's just time saving right there.
Exactly.
That's just math.
Well, and you as a Skaven player too. I mean, like you'd.
That's the big one right there.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you got like 5,000 of these things to do.
Well, I have a frightening amount.
Frightening.
Just going through, almost done the flesh on this guy.
Now, like I'm looking at like the back of the model, and I mean, like that looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And which color were we using?
So this is the Guilliman flesh.
Guilliman flesh, okay.
And then, so that's...
So far, it is looking... Yeah, it's looking almost like you would apply a layer of Guilliman flesh with a shade wash of like Reichland.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this normally what you would do in your workflow?
Yeah, and typically it would be, if it's Kislev with Agrex, is kind of what I typically do for my rats, just to make it as fast as possible is typically what I go for. That still looks decent on the table.
Now, once you let that dry, you can go over it again, and the color will become more saturated and deeper.
Okay.
So that is something else you may want to consider. Now, again, I mean, like this is not about painting the model, right? This is just about what you think of the paints.
Right.
So.
No, and I so far I'm a big fan of this.
Do you see this as something that might be part of your workflow?
Yeah, honestly. Again, if I can make my first two steps of base coating and wash in one, well then, again, like that's just time consuming as it is. Mm-hmm. That's good English.
Yep. That's very good English.
So, okay, we got, Mr. Fingy.
A fingy?
We gotta get in there. I am kind of experiencing that thing of, I find whenever I paint with one color in a big surface, sometimes I miss spots.
Right. Yeah. That's. I was just filming a tutorial, and I seen lots of spots I missed, and
So that's got about there. So, and you said there was one of these that's a reddier brown?
Yeah, it should be the Fire Slayer. That one looks more like it's got like a bit of a red hue, like
this guy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you hold it up, like let the light pass through it. No, open up the cap and let the light pass through the lid, and you'll kind of see the color.
Oh.
Is that closer to the color you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay.
And then because I guess there's a blending of these as well, right? Has anyone tried mixing them together?
Yeah. I recently did a little video on that, doing basically a wet blend on it.
Okay. So it's a little
darker or lighter?
It's definitely darker.
Okay.
I was hoping for a little bit more pink to it, but I mean that's merely just color choice, and again, the more you use them,
right,
the more familiar you'll be with the colors that you'll get as a final result.
Right. Now, mind you, I mean, after that tail head dries, you could thin down, say, one of the reds or even the purples.
Ooh, okay.
And apply that on top of that to get your slightly red tinge to it. That's just for the tail that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're more concerned with just the overall color of that tail.
Yeah, that would be probably what I think I'd have to do, is mix the two to get it more of that. I could definitely see the color difference, but the reds that I was kind of like that pink tone.
Okay, well, let's, as long as it doesn't take too long, let's let that dry, and maybe we'll thin down red and apply a slight little layer of red on that.
And so which red would you...
Well, we gotta wait till it's dry. Yeah, I know.
Waiting for paint to dry.
You're waiting for paint to dry. Okay, so what else? So what are you thinking, like, as far as applying this stuff? Like,
again, like that took how long?
Not even 8 minutes.
And that did 2 steps. That probably would have taken
a little bit longer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's kind of awesome.
What would you do the armor? Or let's play with the little loincloth stuff.
This guy here?
Yeah, the loincloth.
That would be red.
You would do it red? Okay. So there's Blood Angel's red, and there is Flesh Tearer's red. The Flesh Tearer's red is a bit like the red you see on the cloak of that model in the back.
This one here?
Yeah. So
that is Flesh Tearer's?
Yeah.
And so then this one is a brighter?
I would assume it's a much brighter, yeah.
Well, let's go for it.
Okay.
The scheme for my new Skaven are based on the whatever you see in the Skaven battle tome, that red with the blue metallic armor, but it's not metallic, it's a non-metallic, so they're typically, they have these bright red cloths, which for my scheme is Mephiston with Nuln Oil and then Mephiston and Wild Rider.
Gotcha.
So, oh, hello.
Yeah, that's nice and dark.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Again, just the fact that it got like the saturation there as soon as it touched the paint, pretty much, like as soon as it touched the model, that it's just red. No multiple layers. 'Cause that's the other thing too. If you're using any sort of color that involves a too thin layer base coat, that's 3 layers of paint you've got to apply, with the wash included.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just get some of that off. But boom.
Yeah, draw some of the excess off. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because again, it flows like a shade wash, so you do want to pull some of the excess off sometimes. But see the fun part, how it gives you your shadows, your midtones, and your a little bit of the highlights going on.
Dang. Yeah, that almost has like a bit of like the bright red orangey kind of vibe to it. I like that one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else red on that guy you see?
No.
What about the armor? What would you do to the armor?
The armor would be just a metallic.
Okay, well let's.
But he does have a little face cloth there.
Okay.
That I typically go for whatever the closest to like a Ricard flesh, like that gray-y.
Oh, kind of a light pale flesh.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's try. Let's try. Well, you can probably close up that red. Let's try Skeleton Horde. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to lose my framing here. And one of those is the thinning medium, and you can try a little bit of thinner.
The technical contrast medium.
Yeah, the technical contrast medium. Okay. Now that's going to give you a slightly yellowish brown, but if you thin it out, it should just apply.
Oh yeah! Now that I open it there.
Yeah. So now I would grab just a little dollop of the medium, lay it onto the palette, or grab a heavy. Yeah, grab a nice heavy helping of it, and you're contaminating it. You didn't rinse the brush out well enough.
I am a contaminator.
You're still contaminating it. Do you not know how to rinse a brush, Cullen?
I don't know. Do I? Apparently not, according to Chris's standards.
There we go. Yeah.
You want that aggressive sound?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Now I see. Look at it, and now it's nice and clean.
Look at that. Getting all the contaminants off.
All the viewers almost got watched Cullen get slapped up. Peyton with Chris getting slapped. Okay, so yeah, I would just do one little dollop just to thin it out a little bit.
Okay, so now it's super thin.
Yeah, now try that. Now some of the areas that you hit with the flesh, they're gonna mix. The color will overlay.
Okay.
So you're gonna see a difference. So it might not be exactly what you imagine.
Yeah, I wasn't too clean with the first coat there. I just wanted to get it down.
No, but that's something I think a lot of people will end up doing as they work on models, like, with a little bit of complexity like this, that they will end up hitting other areas. And so I think really that is something for everybody else out there watching this, is that, yeah, you kind of need to be careful, especially when you want to just do one coat on these surfaces. You do have to be fairly deliberate as where you apply the color. Now, is that close to about what you were thinking of, or is that not enough? Or is it not?
Probably a little too thin. So just go in with a little bit more of this, just to find it's not getting enough color onto the white. There we go. The spots that are white are still staying rather bright. There we go. Okay, yeah, and I can see right there where it's starting to run into one of the other cracks.
Yeah, you can see the previous brownish mixing with that, and it's...
Pull it from there, and wow, there it goes.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it is
Not
pretty
bad.
forgiving stuff.
And I mean, I guess the other big color on this guy is the fur. So
Okay, yeah, let's bust out the fur. So now with the fur, I would probably go with, I don't think I'd go with a flesh tone. I'd probably go with one of the browns. And the one I'm really liking is that Cygor brown. That is a really rich dark brown.
You've got
Is it Cygor?
War Grunta?
No, it's on the right a bit of the browns. Right, straight ahead. No, right there. You're touching it.
Cygor Brown.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that what I said? Cygor?
That is what you said.
Oh, okay.
I can read.
Oh,
Apparently.
it's all right. Yeah, now this one is going to be fairly rich brown, okay? See the little pooch in the background?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be like that.
Okay. Okay.
So it's going to be a nice rich brown.
It almost looks black. Alright, let's start with this guy on some fur. And again, there is a little bit of spots where it's kind of overlapping, so we'll see.
But with this darker tone, it will...
It'll just...
Yeah, it'll dominate those surfaces. Darker colors.
Jeez.
Yeah. And the thing I've been advising people a lot on is that when you are laying these colors down, that you should start with your brighter tones and build to a darker tone as you work your way around.
Now that's funny because that's yeah, I was looking at it and thinking about it at the beginning, and I was thinking that maybe I should just start with the browns first, but obviously the flesh tone being the biggest surface area.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to get something big done.
And so now, like if you had done that dark brown first and say got into any of the flesh areas, you would have been fighting to clean that up.
Right.
Whereas now you can be very deliberate, you know.
And just put it where I need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is a nice color difference between the light flesh-like tone versus the fleshier tone.
Okay. So?
I am very interested to see how this is going to dry.
It should dry fairly close to that. Again, you don't have to apply it like you would a paint, but you're kind of applying it more like you are a shade wash, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you are laying it on somewhat heavily, but then not so much. But yeah.
Just trying to.
But the big thing is for everybody else out there watching, is that you do want to be careful when you are working with multiple colors and going around details, and you do kind of have to give some forethought to your color scheme if you're going outside the established color schemes.
That is true. Where sometimes I find with the typical color scheme, I'm just going to start with the base coat, right, and just work your way back. But yeah, maybe there is a bit more planning that needs to be done before you even.
Yeah, if you're gonna go off the beaten path as far as what color schemes are concerned, yeah, definitely.
Starting to lose some stick tack on my little stand here.
Oh.
Okay, wow.
Let's see. Yeah, look at that fella.
Not bad.
Don't worry, we're going to post some pictures at the end of the video, so anybody who's curious as to what his end result looks like.
I don't want to see them.
Well, they're gonna.
I know. I'm not doing the best job.
That's the point of this video, is not you painting it, like so much what you're painting, but what you're painting with and your reaction to the tool that you're using.
Yeah, I'm definitely having a lot of fun here, and I'm just even trying to think the other thing I do is I paint a lot of D&D miniatures, just monsters and NPC characters and a bunch of stuff, and they don't. People I play with, obviously, they don't have these standards of a tabletop wargamer.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that this might be an easy way to get through
a bunch of models.
A bunch of D&D models where you're just kind of. A lot of those are monsters with big, broad surfaces of color, and you just want to get that first tone down. Yeah. Using these, I can see that being fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll probably still wow your friends.
Exactly. And save myself some time again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things about those D&D ones is you want to get them done for the session, and sometimes you only you start planning a day or two before, and you're like, oh no, I don't have this painted up and ready. I don't know if I'll have time to get it done and painted. Where now, I guess this should help launch me forward in getting those things done in time for...
Yeah, that Cygor brown, that's just really fantastic brown. It's so dark and saturated, yet you can still see all the little high points in it, and
Yeah.
I really, really like that brown. It's really fantastic stuff. And so, yeah. So, I think that is all we really need. Because we are at our time mark here, and yeah, rinse that brush off right.
Look at that. Here's a real lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
How Cullen cleans a brush. Or how Chris yells at Cullen for not cleaning his brushes.
Well, okay, so final verdict from Cullen.
Yeah, I am excited to try more of these. Learn the color range, because I think that's going to be another part of this, is learning the variance between the colors of where you can start at, because I almost feel lost. Where you're like, I've now used the GW colors for so long, you can just tell me a name and I know I can picture that color exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Where these, it's going to take a bit, and you're going to have to use them to actually know what the dark versus the light tones are.
Definitely. And the other thing I hadn't really realized just until this moment too is that all the color guides, they've got to put out 2 color guides for every color scheme out there now.
Oh yeah.
Like Space Marines have to be shown how to be done in this and the traditional way.
Huh.
Right? So
That's true.
So Games Workshop's got a lot of work ahead of them to show how to use all these colors.
Because they've always had their old color guides forever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see how these compare to some of the other colors that we already have been using for forever now.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Cullen. I'm going to show everybody what your model looks like here just after this video. But so your initial thoughts are, yay? You probably would pick these up. You find these very useful?
Oh yeah. Because now I can just see going in with Kislev Flesh and doing my normal thing after a wash, which is just, going in and filling in those spots and really just leaving the dark colors in the dark spots, and then I'll go in with a lighter color, typically a mix with white, and then build up one. So I can definitely see going in and knowing exactly where I want to get my Kislev Flesh in.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so there we have it, a ringing endorsement from Cullen, because really that's what matters around here is Cullen's opinion.
Everyone comes to ask me my opinion.
I know, yeah. I wait in line to hear Cullen's opinion. So, so thank you for watching, everybody. Happy wargaming.